Thank you, Mr. President. The Society for Threatened Peoples welcomes the report of the Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Opinion and Expression, Mr. Frank LaRue, in which he recognizes the criminalization of legitimate expression through the imprisonment of bloggers around the world. He highlights the situation in China with at least 72 imprisoned bloggers at the end of 2010 and one of the world's most sophisticated and extensive systems of controlling information on the Internet. Also, the Society for Threatened Peoples is deeply concerned about the ongoing violation of freedom of opinion and expression in China, especially against its national minorities like the Uyghurs and the Tibetans. Since the 5th July 2009 events in Urumqi, Xinjiang, at least a dozen Uyghur journalists, bloggers and website staffs, among them Khairet Nias, Gulmire Imin, Mehmetjan Abdullah, Dilshad Perhat, Nishat Asad, Nur Ali and Tursunjan Hesim, have been sentenced to harsh prison terms, including life imprisonment, enclosed and unfair trials and under false charges. The aim of these sentences is clear: to silence any form of Uyghur dissent and to discourage Uyghurs from raising their voices in favor of human rights. We therefore call on the Human Rights Council to strongly support the full respect of freedom of expression in China and to urge the Chinese government to unconditionally and immediately release all imprisoned Uyghur media workers. Mr. President, in his report, the Special Rapporteur also reiterates that the protection of national security or countering terrorism cannot be used to justify restrictions on the right of expression. However, China, as well as other Shanghai Cooperation Organization member states, are regularly equating Uyghurs' peaceful activities, including the exercise of freedom of speech, with terrorism, separatism and extremism. As an example, the Uyghur refugee Ershid in Israel has been extradited from Kazakhstan to China 6 days ago after Kazakh Supreme Court refused to grant him political asylum, despite the urgent appeal on Mr. Israel sent by 4 UN Special Procedure mandate holders to the Kazakh authorities back in July 2010. Mr. Israel fled China in September 2009 after having provided information to Radio Free Asia about the torture to death of the Uyghur Shohreh Tursun at the hands of Chinese security forces. Kazakh authorities have held Mr. Israel since June 2010 amid Chinese accusations he was involved in terrorist activities. However, we firmly believe that these accusations are fabricated and an attempt to punish him for leaking Mr. Tursun's case. We urge the Human Rights Council to demand both China and Kazakhstan to disclose Mr. Israel's current whereabouts, legal status and well-being. The Human Rights Council must also look into the SCO member states' ongoing prioritization of questionable regional commitments over their international human rights obligations, particularly those obligations enshrined in the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the Convention Against Torture and the UN Convention relating to the status of refugees. I thank you, Mr. President.